Super League fans around the world, and welcome to #12345. All the other managers have done halftime reports. I was trying to decide the best way of doing the Swindon Devils one, and in the end, I opened it up over the last few days and asked you to submit your questions, Super League related, Swindon Devils related, or could be about anything. You have submitted them. I've got them written down here in my pad. I'm going to go through them all. No, as I said, nothing is off limits. If I get to the end and I've not answered your question, I apologise. I've written down everyone I could find against the post and against the hashtag. Please, if I did miss one, send it me in the replies and I will happily answer it for you. They're in no particular order. Here we go. Is the Yorkshire Mafia real? As this was a question submitted by Mr. Rocks, I know he's very concerned about the Yorkshire influence on the Super League. The simple question is yes, it is. And I believe that Captain Hodgie and Lieutenant Scott are currently deciding what a Yorkshire version of a horse's head is to relocate into yours and Mr. Ian's beds. How many cardboard cutouts of Michael Barrymore does the Sloth boss have? I mean, I don't know because I've not been there, but I'm going to estimate 3. Definitely one in the bedroom, one at the entrance to the manor, I'm imagining. As you walk through the door, he's just like, hey. And probably just one in the loft that doesn't get used anymore. Would you rather have a hand made of ham or an armpit that dispenses sun cream? I mean, for me, the answer is quite easy to this one. A hand made of ham makes sense, purely because when I'm sat here stressing, or I'm sat in the office considering tactics and team selection, and instead of chewing on nails, I can just gnaw on a nice bit of ham. Who has the most to lose in the second half of the Super League season? Most managers, really, particularly those in the top 6. I would say Ryan at Bolton definitely is defending champion. He has to make it. And Hodgie at Ardsley, because he's currently top of the table. And as has been alluded to before in other videos, he has got a excuse me. He has got a history of bottling it, if you will. I think it would be unfair to suggest that, but when you look at his track record, it speaks for itself. So I think they're the 2 with the most to lose. Archie Back, should he star in the second film of Demolition Man, Lethal Weapon, or Showgirls? I'll be honest, and I know it's going to upset fans of these epic movies, I haven't seen any of them. But from what I know of them, Lethal Weapon is the obvious answer. However, if Mr. Rocks and Mr. Milovian are going to offer cameos in said second film, Showgirls is definitely the one. Is 505 now my go-to formation? No. Well, we've learned very quickly that only works against poorer sides. Churchtown ripped us a complete new one when we tried it against them. I'm not saying it won't be used again, particularly if there's a game where I need to score goals to achieve something, but I'm quite happy with the tactics I'm deploying at the moment. Will Zidane get a prolonged run in his preferred position? Zidane is the question I'm struggling to answer. I'm just not getting the best out of him. He doesn't have the best Super League pedigree in general, to be fair. But I'm struggling. It was nice to see him rate a 7 out of 10 for a change in his last game. We'll see. I spoke to Jamie yesterday and mentioned transfers in the book. Zidane is a player written down, and the sort of player I'll be looking for in exchange for, should the situation allow. But listen, we got 11, 12 games left. If he proves over these games that he can have a real impact on the Devils, then there'll be no need to transfer him out of the club, and there'll be no need to replace him. Is the upturn in form down to having the game? Partly, but not wholly by any stretch. I think it's actually more because I've studied people who are clearly much better than I am. Watching the streams Boise does and the streams Rocks does, it's had a big influence on what I've been doing of late. Having the game has certainly helped me then trial things out. But yeah, I think I've definitely learned more by watching others and learning from their wisdom. Is the unfair targeting of Midlothian xenophobia or jealousy? Definitely the latter. And the reason I say that is, again, if you go back and watch, if you haven't already, the video I did with Jamie last night, he alluded to what the Super League has lost since Boise's not been part of it, in terms of, you know, he brought a certain level of humour, and that then made other people, and we seem to have lost that, with the exception of Ian and Neil. And I think there is a jealousy that they are characters and other people can't compete with that. Yes, there are many people that are very good at the game, but they're not necessarily as good in front of the camera or behind the microphone, you know, that kind of thing. And I include me in that. I think there's a lot more I could do. For example, again, if you liken it to what we had before, I was very... I had a lot of videos go out, stupid videos, and they were normally the inspiration behind some of Boise's better ones. As I've said before, I take full credit for the fame he's found, because I brought out that side of his character. So I need to up my game. So I think that's what it is. There's a jealousy that, yes, they're doing very well, but the main jealousy is that they are characters and other people maybe can't compete with that. If I could go back in time, would I rather be the inventor of a flamethrower, the inventor of an alarm clock, or teabag Hitler while he's asleep? Definitely be the inventor of the flamethrower. Alarm clock's boring. You want to be known as doing something epic if you're going to do that. And I think a flamethrower is a lot more exciting. And I certainly have no inclination to teabag Hitler. What is my realistic target for this season? I'm guessing this is because I keep saying in videos that I'm looking to get sixth still. Those that know me and have seen me do this for a long time know that until it's mathematically improbable, I will aim to finish in the highest position I can. Where would I be happy to finish? Based on the situation in the first half of the season. Cat's just bit me. Based on the situation in the first half of the season, I definitely think there are worse squads than mine. And if we can get and maintain a certain level of form, we will certainly eclipse those teams. I think anything inside the top 10 resembles a decent season when you consider how long we've been bottom at stroke in the bottom two. So yeah, I'm looking at 9th as being my realistic finish position personally. I think there are 5 worse teams than us. Would I rather have a weasel in the trouser leg or kicked in the gonads by a goat? Well, see now, the obvious answer to this would be to have a weasel in the trouser leg. However, sitting here now in front of this camera, I'm not planning on having any more kids. So perhaps being kicked by a goat isn't necessarily a bad idea. So then I had a question. If I had to have sex with any farmyard animal, which would it be? And the person that submitted this question, I'm sure you can all guess who it was, also gave me their answer. And I've been toiling with this one. It's really difficult because I just can't even picture it. And the only thing that I've managed to come up with so far that resembles a logical answer would be to say that obviously I'm originally from Swindon, which is close-ish to Wales, so maybe a sheep. I can't think of any other reasons or answer to give to that question, but I said I would answer everything. How many bodies does Robert Sloss have under his patio? Again, I've not been there, so I can't say for certain, and I can't suggest what, if any, criminal acts he's been party of, but I'm going to predict 5. Have I ever been aroused by Anne Hegarty on The Chase? And if not, is that because I'm a Mark Lebet fan? No, I haven't. I do think she's very entertaining, but in terms of intellectual women on the telly that I find arousing, I'm more of a Rachel Riley kind of guy. I do think, however, as I said, she's very entertaining, as all the Chasers are, really. I think Bradley Walsh brings it out in them very well. And I think you see the more they appear on TV, whether it's in the jungle or the Dark Destroyer has been on a few things lately, including radio interviews, where I found them quite funny. I think the more they do, the more their personalities shine through, and you see that they're not just, you know, this is a lesson for the kids out there. Geeks can be funny too. Butter or Marge? I'll be honest, I don't really know the difference, to be quite frank. So if it helps answer this question, I've got a tub of clover in the fridge. When I go to the shop and I need some, I don't look at what it is, because again, I don't really understand the difference. I just look for the one that's around about £1 for the tub, because that's what I'm willing to pay for something that just goes on toast and a sandwich. Would I rather fight a one-handed Mike Tyson or a no-legged Tyson Fury? As you know, or I hope most of you know, I am a trainee mixed martial artist, so obviously I think I could knock them both out anyway. Tyson was a little bit before my time, but I am obviously familiar with how good he was at his craft. Tyson Fury, again, someone I respect for their craft, but it's only in the last sort of 2 years I've really he's grown on me as a person. I do find him entertaining. Thinking about the logical answer to this question, Fury's success comes from the fact that despite the fact he's a big guy, it's all about his movement and his defense. So I'm going to say a no-legged Tyson Fury would be easier for a fat, unfit Stephen Fife to beat. If I could sign any player to the Devils, who would it be? It's a simple answer, and it's Ronaldinho. And the reason is because for me, in real life, he is the GOAT. So any opportunity I would get to work alongside Ronaldinho, fictional or not, is a chance I would definitely take. Israel or Palestine? Listen, I'll be honest, I'm not too clued into international politics. I know that there's various religious things involved over there as well. I just about stay clued into UK politics. So all I would say, without knowing enough about it to offer an in-depth analysis, is obviously I don't agree with civilian casualties, and I don't agree with dictatorships. So whichever one is just killing people because they want power, I'm not with them. Whichever one is defending their territory for the sake of their people and their way of life, then good for them. Would I rather have sausage toes or carrot fingers? Well, as someone who, you know, of my physical size has sausage fingers, I may as well have the toes to match. Would I rather be from Hull but never go back, or be from anywhere else and live in Hull? It's a difficult question because I don't have a problem with Hull. I've been to Hull once in my life. I met Mr. Joe Palmer, had a lovely, hour, maybe 2 hours in his company at the Toby Carvery, went to a wedding there. I have no problem with Hull. Could I live there? Probably. Would I want to live there? It wouldn't be my first choice. So I suppose the best answer to that would be to be from Hull, but to not go back. I think that's the right way of answering that. But either way, it's a bit of a confused question. Billy Painter or Charlie Austin? It depends what I'm looking to achieve. If I want to build a good football team, then it's Charlie Austin all day long. If I want to mug off a big name Leeds United and laugh at them for years to come, it would be Billy Painter. The fact that Leeds were offered both in that season, where they got promoted from League One to the Championship, and decided that Billy Painter was the better option. It's probably the reason it's taken them 16 years to get back in the Premier League. Stupid ass decisions like that. Very, very funny though. The last question that I found was, where did Harold Bishop go, and was it the bouncer's responsible? And was the bouncer responsible? Harold Bishop, I think, is from either Home and Away or Neighbours. I'll be honest, I don't know the programmes very well. I kind of know of key characters, like I know Kylie Minogue and Jason Donovan was in one of them. I think it has something to do with a boat, this story. But my guess is, and it's purely a guess, because soap-wise, my mum watched Emmerdale, Corrie and EastEnders, never really watched Hollyoaks. So my guess is Harold Bishop got on a boat. He ended up in Brazil or Colombia, got himself a lovely Latina bride, made his way back to the Land of Oz, where she got whatever an Australian version of a visa is. And yes, the bouncer was responsible, and he ended up looking a mug when Harold Bishop turned up with his new twerking bride. That's it. That's all the questions I could find. Thank you to anyone who wants to watch this, and anyone who submitted the questions. Again, if I missed any, I apologise. Please reply to the tweet, and I will answer your question for you. Thank you to everyone who watches the Super League and engages with us all. We all appreciate it. Thank you to all the managers that have been on the halftime reports thus far. They've been well received, I think, from the feedback I've had, definitely. Thank you to those who have agreed to come on over the next week or so. And yeah, that's basically it from Swindon Devils. We're on the march up. We will aim for the playoffs, but a top 10 finish is the minimum. Thank you very much. Until next time.